Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Nettie Owens with What Businesses Need to Know Right Now. And I'm excited to bring you my guest today, Dr. Ginny Baro. Welcome.
Welcome. I'm so glad to be here. Hello, everybody.
Hello. This is fantastic. We've been a few months in the making, so it's nice to be able to sit down with you. You are a busy woman. Just most recently published a book, Healing Leadership, which is some of what we'll talk about today.
Sounds good.
How is that going? And tell us a little bit about what brought you to write the book.
Yeah, thank you, Nettie, for having me. And hello, everybody. Welcome. I just want to give you some accolades because the fact that you're listening to Nettie and her guest interview, it's to me speaks volumes as to who you are and your mindset. So welcome, everyone. My book, Healing Leadership, came out this April. And the whole goal behind writing Healing Leadership is that I know that I'm calling it the movement to heal leadership around the world. We have not been giving a leadership manual. Most of us have learned about leadership through the school of hard knocks, as I call it. And so if we're not doing the right thing as leaders, it's not because we're bad people, it's because we don't have the tools. And in my book, I basically collect the 30 years that I have of experience working in the corporate world in financial services and technology before I became a leadership coach, career strategist, and number one best-selling author, and now transformational speaker as well in the last 5 years. And I take all that experience and package it in 300 pages, along with interviewing 41 experts and leaders in industry across backgrounds and fields and age and gender. And they also shared their answers to three key questions that I ask in the book. And that's what everybody gets. And it's a way for me to give back, to share my voice, share the secrets to healing leadership, share how to lead, engage, and influence others from a place of purpose and with empathy, and strategies for self development. Those are the main three sections of the book.
Excellent, excellent. It's a fantastic book, and I'm so glad that you're sharing it here. And if you haven't checked it out, definitely pick it up. I'm going to share the link for Ginny in just a little bit when we're done with our interview. Stay tuned. It'll be in the comments as well. So what, based on your research and your experience in working with leaders, what do we need to be aware of as leaders right now? This is a time that we've never, every moment is a moment we've never been in.
Yeah.
But I feel like we are continuing to navigate kind of a new experience. We're almost a year and a half into this pandemic. They're saying the Delta variant, and we don't know what that's going to look like and how it's going to impact people. I feel like we have a call to leadership right now, and there's things that we need to be aware of, but maybe as leaders, we're not even sure what that is. So
Yeah.
what do you think?
I'm going to give you the top two that we uncovered during the field study that I did with my leaders. The number one is communication. Communicate, 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 over communicate. I know that has been a very popular one throughout time, but now more than ever, right? Communicate your vision, communicate the rationale behind why you're making certain decisions, especially now that people may be going back to a hybrid environment if they've been virtual. Perhaps you're keeping your people virtual, or maybe you're asking people to come back to the office. What's your rationale for making those decisions? Involve your team. Let them ask them, what would work best for you? Because I find that people are actually pushing back. Many people don't want to go back to the office because they have to go get back on the treadmill of the commute and the 2 hours that are wasted, where
Right.
you could be sitting at your desk working. So I think companies some of them have been very thoughtful about this, asking their employees, their talent, what do you want to do? And whether you're a small business or you're a corporate entity, like the clients that work with me, it doesn't matter. You still, I believe, it will serve you greatly to connect with your people and to make sure that you understand their needs so that you are being an empathetic leader. And that's the second quality that we uncover, being an empathetic leader who's highly emotionally intelligent. Be self-aware. How are you leading your people? Have that, it's called self-awareness, and then be able to manage yourself, self-management, and be socially aware. What's happening around us? How are people reacting to things? What's the temperature, right? What's the vibe when we go into our either virtual or real meetings? And finally, don't forget to build relationships. That's all part of emotional intelligence. But that empathy is going to go such a long way, Nettie.
Relationships was really the key thing that we found in the first set of the interviews that we did for this series as being the thing that we needed to be doing, in the middle of the pandemic. We needed to be focusing on relationships. That's continuing to be true. And I'm so glad that you brought it up. And empathy is one way that we build those strong relationships, when we relate well to people and we take, their perspective and understand where they're coming from. So thank you for sharing that. So you learned a lot, it sounds like, in this study that pulled into the Healing Leadership book. What do you feel is the biggest skill that leaders need to be cultivating right now? And maybe it's a skill they need to be always cultivating, but what would you say?
Listen, I started the book talking about self-awareness. That is one component of emotional intelligence, which is, as a leader, you're doing what you've always done, right? Like, you've learned from the people around you, you've acquired the best practices, right? And we tend to do what we like, right? We tend to do the things we like. So being a self-aware leader means that you're paying attention to how your behavior, how your communication is impacting the people around you. And that self-awareness is what will tell you, Nettie, you need to tweak this. Nettie, try something different. Or Nettie, keep doing that. It's working. And how do you know it's working? Because you're getting results. If you're not seeing the results you want in your business, whether you're a big corporation or you're a small business like we are, look at what's happening with the leadership. Look at how people are behaving.
So that was really my next question. Okay, you're not getting results, or you're trying this, you're trying empathy, you're trying to be a leader that's self-aware, and you're just not getting that traction. Where do we go from there?
I would say get feedback. Right? If you can self-assess and be like, you know what, every time I have this meeting and I approach it this way, this is the outcome that I get. Let me try something different. If you aren't getting any traction doing that, get feedback from the people around you. And that means you're going to be vulnerable, right? Because to ask for feedback means that you're going to be opening up, or you're open to criticism. Now, life, I believe all of us, the biggest challenge we all have is not necessarily what's happening to us or who's doing it to us, as we say, to us, right? But the meaning that we're giving these things, right? So if you're noticing you're not getting the results that you want, if you notice that you have already taken all the measures that you think you should take, ask people for feedback, which means you're going to be vulnerable, because they may give you feedback that you were not expecting. And at that point, do all that you possibly can to self-manage and be a good recipient of the feedback. Right? Looking for the meaning that, how can I use this to be a tool for me to grow, and for my business to get better and improve, and for us to get the business results that we're looking for.
So one of the things that I find is that everything that we do, everything we say, every interaction we have can in some way be systematized. And there's a way to do that without taking out the empathy. In fact, you can be more empathetic when you have clear systems. It allows you to communicate well, which you started our conversation with. Do you have any ideas or structures that help you, put these skills and soft skills into processes and procedures? What could we?
So to run, this because this is what you do for a living. You help people put in place systems so that they have the structure. So one of the things that I work with my clients on is, if you're not getting the results that you want, and you are developing self-leadership, meaning you're looking at yourself honestly in the mirror and being truthful with yourself about the areas that you're crushing it in, that you should continue to do, and then the areas that you need to improve. And I always say, let's take the strengths and magnify them and do more of them. If you're doing that and you still you're still not getting where you want to get, it's really important to set yourself the structure, to give yourself the structure that will support you. And I can take that in two ways, like you described, doing systems or doing people. And it requires both. But put in place the structure that will support you to succeed as a business by having your your technology, your systems, your processes, all documented, your standard operating procedures, and also to be able to develop as a person, as a leader in that case as well.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you'd like to get in touch with Dr. Ginny Baro, check her out at executivebound.com. She's got some great resources. I'm going to be heading over there to see about the emotions checklist.
Yes. Yes.
And see what that looks like. You can find out more about her book there, Healing Leadership. And if what she said speaks to you, I encourage you to reach out. If you could use Ginny in your corporation or your business to be a better leader, to help lead your teams, certainly reach out and have that conversation. Thank you so much, Ginny.
Bye, everybody.